Hi, everyone. My name is Carmen Pang, the co-founder and co-director of SWAG, Singapore Wildcat Action Group. Welcome to the opening day of Singapore Tiger Week 2021. I am so excited to see so many of you joining us from many different countries around the world. As some of you might already know, SWAG launched the Singapore Tiger Week in 2019 to raise awareness of tiger conservation by bringing together tiger researchers and conservationists from a number of tiger range countries to meet in Singapore. And our hope was to provide a platform for these experts to share their insight with the public and to have meaningful discussions and knowledge sharing with each other. Following the success of the inaugural event in 2019, we plan to make Singapore Tiger Week an annual occurrence. Unfortunately, the pandemic forced us to change our plans in 2020. But with a year of organizing Wildcat webinars under our belt and navigating Zoom, we felt we're ready to bring together a virtual Singapore Tiger Week 2021. And as we go virtual this year, we benefit from the fact that land boundaries are no longer a restriction. So not only are we welcoming audiences joining us from all over the world, we have also expanded the number of speakers. In total, we have 19 speakers from 10 countries joining us this year, and they will be speaking about tiger conservation in almost all tiger range countries. And in a moment, Dr. Vilma de Rosario, my SWAG co-founder and co-director, will be telling you more about the speakers and what to expect in this year's event. But before that, I need to go through a few housekeeping items with y'all first. First, this evening session will be recorded, and the recording will be available in our YouTube channel later on. If you go to our website, swagcat.org, you'll find links to all our social media channels, including YouTube. And secondly, to minimize distraction, please mute your microphones during the presentation and use the chat function to ask questions. We will try to ask as many as possible during the Q&A segment after all the presentations. Okay, now that we have gotten that taken care of, let's move on to the main event. Vilma, over to you.
We're so excited to have so many speakers, and they come from all over the world. And this map that our volunteers have done, shows you that we have speakers from Southeast Asia who will speak in track 1, tiger conservation in Southeast Asia. And that would be Malaysia, Thailand, Indonesia, Myanmar, and Singapore. We're so proud to be part of the program as well. And then we have Thailand and Myanmar. Did I say that? Yeah, I am very nervous. So then we have track 2, where we have speakers from India, Nepal, and Bhutan. Also, we have a speaker from Central Asia, as well as the Russian Far East. And track 3 is where we have people talking about the challenges, opportunities, and possible ways forward for tiger conservation. And as you know, the talks are going to be from tonight right through to August the 5th. Well, now I'm going to talk a little bit about Catwalk. Catwalk brought us together. I think we have a little slide on that. Okay. Okay, this is actually the program for today, where first of all, we're going to watch a video on Catwalk, after which Dr. Kae Kawanishi will give her opening address. And then we will start the talks for track number 1, which is tiger conservation in Southeast Asia, where we have Mr. Hazril. And then after that, Lara Ariffin, a short film on the Malayan tiger by Layar Liar. So a little bit about citizen action for tigers. We're going to show you a video very soon, but before that, I want to tell you a little bit about it. So Catwalk, or Citizen Action for Tigers, is a walk that just before COVID, we were doing like once a month. So 8 of us in each group would fly or drive to Kuala Lumpur. And from there, we would take a 5-hour vehicle drive, usually in a van provided by MYCAT, to Marapo, where we would stay for the weekend. It's such an exciting trip because we get to learn more about the plight of the tiger and what we can do as ordinary citizens to help what little that we can do. The most exciting part for us, and as well for me, I would say, is the walk in the forest, which usually happens on a Saturday, where we spend several hours in the forest. And many of us come from very urban settings where we don't get a chance to walk in dense forest, which is rich in biodiversity, which the forest around the Sungayu ecological corridor provides for us. So it's a wonderful walk in the forest. We cross streams. We look out for snares and traps and other illegal activities. And should we find any, we will report them to the authorities through MYCAT. We also have a lot of time in the village where we eat local food. And we also go for a night drive where we've seen some very exciting wildcats, like the leopard cat. We plant trees on the last day, and that's very exciting too, because we're helping to restore the habitat in the area. So that area is the Sungayu Ecological Corridor, which is a narrow strip of land in between 2 large forest tracts, Taman Negara and the Titiwangsa Range, or the main range of Malaysia. And the whole idea was mooted by Kae and the government of Malaysia, that the road that runs there would be raised, and hopefully wildlife will pass underneath, between the 2 large forest tracts. So we are there to patrol around the area to make sure it's safe, as well as to plant up the area so that the habitat is restored. So in a nutshell, that's what Catwalk is. And for several of us, especially those of us who are part of SWAG, this walk in the forest, or this time away from Singapore, really changed our lives. Actually, for me, it did. And now to tell you more about Catwalk experience from 3 other catwalkers, I'd like to welcome Jenny, who is going to show us the video that she produced. Jenny, please sit back, relax, and enjoy Catwalk experience.
All right, hi everyone. I'm about to share the video with you, so just bear with me. Just do my settings and then we can start. Okay. All right, everyone, enjoy.
When we went on the catwalk, that was our time to be really alone with nature. And it was so intimate. Just stop and listen in the forest, and how it was just so alive around you. In fact, I think it kind of ignited my love for kind of getting lost in the forest. I remember just stopping often and just feeling how fortunate we were to be in such an old forest.
It's secondary forest, but it's really good quality forest as well. A lot of good species, the Meranti family, the dipterocarps, and huge, huge trees.
The first time I had river crossing, we had to take off our shoes. the currents are quite strong, so you have to be careful. So sometimes we create a human chain.
When you're there, it feels like you're in another dimension when you go into the forest. You know?
For the catwalk, we actually go and patrol through the periphery of Taman Negara. It's a tiger monitoring walk where you patrol or monitor tigers, you remove snares. So that got me really excited.
I got to go to a talk by Dr. Kae about the tigers in Malaysia, and it was amazing to me that they were still there, and so intrigued by the work she was doing, and I got to go on a catwalk.
The fact that there are just so few Malaysian tigers now, and it's like, thank God someone is doing something about that to help with conservation efforts. So I said, yeah, it's great. I mean, the money goes to support them, and we actually go out and volunteer and offer our time and our muscles and our eyes and ears to help out with this. So I thought, yeah, this sounds great.
As we went along the hike, it was very encouraging because then slowly we sort of learned to identify these things ourselves. We saw sun bear claw marks all the way up the trees. That was very interesting because from that we learned about like sun bear behavior and things like that.
Bear is trying to rip the tree open to get to the honey. So it's so ripped apart, the bear's been biting and clawing.
You see elephant tracks, you see sun bear claw marks, and that was really exciting.
I really loved that we stopped at the camera traps. The catwalkers have put out camera traps, and we could stop and collect the film and look at the footage, and to know that I was walking on the same trail that elephants had been on, and sun bears, porcupines, civet cats was so great. I loved it.
There's so many nice things about the whole trip. My God, the walking on the trails and collecting the storage cards from those cameras and then looking at them at night, and it's like, wow, oh my God, what was that? And then you see this animal just walking across, and it's a huge thing. It's like, I think there were tapirs. We were, it's a long day and we were tired already. It's like, oh, do we have to watch this? But once it starts coming up on the screen, and we all get squeals of excitement, and yeah, get very excited just to see these animals. Yeah, that was a thrill.
I feel that I contributed by planting a tree or two saplings to revegetate and restoring the landscape.
Select some trees for us to take to plant today. We're going to plant about 20 trees today.
And to allow biodiversity to cross through the corridors. That's very fulfilling. That's one of the best takeaways that I had.
Obviously, we don't want to damage the roots. See the color of the soil. It's really dark, and the darkness means that it's rich in organic matter.
And it was so nice that the local people are involved, because they are the ones who actually know what's happening in the forest, right? They use the forest all the time. And they are the ones who also know where the trees are. Oh, that one's got seeds and fruit, so they will know to collect when they know. So it's all locally sourced plants and seeds which they are planting in the nursery, which we then take and plant out to reforest part of the degraded forest areas. Yeah.
Acts like a sponge, so that will hold water, and then if it were to be dry, which is unlikely in this month, then it will slowly release the water. You want to hold it from the bottom.
Yep.
Like that.
So this is a pomethea.
Yeah, here. So actually, the water runs off here a lot down from the logging road, so these can tolerate waterlogged conditions.
Then we learned so much about how the Sungai Yu corridor connects the main range and the Taman Negara, which are the two main habitat areas, and it's a vital link. This is the actual spot, and that's how they raised the highway above so that the animals could walk through, and all these things that they're doing. So we learned a lot, and the intricacies of working with government, with the local people, watching out for poachers and things like that, the dangers of poachers.
The idea that individuals are there keeping an eye over everything, I think is really, really important.
I just want to be out there and just exploring and interacting with nature.
Anything I can share with students, they really take to heart. And that feeling of gratefulness and appreciation is just so important in a young person.
I think that people are naturally curious about nature, and if given the chance, they would want to hear about it. So the catwalks were really like a foot in the door in a way to really open up to all kinds of different conservation efforts and just the littlest things that we can do.
Because if you can bring the love of nature into somebody, they're going to do what they can for the environment, for the world we live in.
So this catwalk, I think, has a really important role. You cannot talk about conservation without talking about environmental education. The two must go together hand in hand. Environmental education is a huge part of conservation. Ignite their imagination. We can actually save the Malaysian tiger. This really helps. Every little bit helps.
What would you say to interested cat walkers?
Sign up straight away. Do not delay.
I am deeply passionate about the environment, sustainability, and so when I got a chance to be involved in the catwalks, it was definitely an opportunity that I was not going to pass up. Yeah.
I can't believe I got to be a part of it, that I got to help the tigers, and I know people that care that are out there make a difference.
Oh my gosh. I would sign up in a heartbeat again.
By all means, if you have the chance, please do go. I promise you it's a trip that you will never forget, and I can guarantee you will appreciate what nature has to offer.
So it felt wonderful to be part of that effort, to contribute to such an iconic animal as the Malaysian tiger. Wow. Yeah, it was an honor. It was an honor to be there.
Thank you so much, Jenny. Jenny Catwalker produced that video. The cameraman was Bing. Thank you so much, Bing. The catwalk footage was by Anya Catwalker and Jenny Catwalker. And thank you to the 4 interviewees who were catwalkers as well. We hope you
Thanks,
enjoyed
Norma.
that. Yeah. Okay, so next up, we have, can we have, yeah, thank you, Daphne. I think many of us want to hear Dr. Kae Kawanishi speak, and I have the honor of introducing Kae. Well, Kae is the mother of swag because Kae inspired all of us to want to make a difference. So we learned a lot about the Malaysian tiger from Kae and the MYCAT team, and we were inspired so much through Catwalk that we came together and we want to do more, as much as we can, for the Malaysian tiger. So let me introduce Kae in another way, which many of you know already. Kae is a renowned tiger biologist, and she has been studying the Malaysian tiger for 20 years. She tells us that she has never seen a wild Malaysian tiger face to face. She is the general manager of the Malaysian Conservation Alliance for tigers. And she played a key role in the first National Tiger Conservation Action Plan, which details the specific actions needed to secure a future for wild Malaysian tigers. And this includes the Sungai Ecological Corridor, which, the video showed, and which is well, I think I won't say too much about that. I'll let Kae say more. Also, she was and is committed to citizen action for tigers to deter poaching just by being there. Today, she's going to talk to us about making sense of tiger extinction in the era of ecological collapse. Dr. Kae, please.
Thank you. Wow. Look at what swaggers have done this year. Singapore Wildcat Action Group. Woo! A bunch of amazing volunteers. Oh my God. Catwalk is revolutionary. You know, one of your supporters said last year, aptly, it democratized tiger conservation. And it's so true. I love it. I love your video. First time I watched it, it almost made me, actually, it did make me cry. I'm not going to cry today. I want my talk to be informative, yet informal, and I think a bit entertaining. So just sit back and then listen to me. I am so humbled and honored to be supported by people like you who feel and felt the deep connection with Tigers Forest. And I am grateful for your friendship, of course. And my big thanks are extended to all the supporters and friends of MYCAT. And my apologies. I really hate not being able to respond to all your emails and text messages. I've been meaning to write to you this year, and 7 months have passed. So I'm really sorry I think I have thousands of messages. I'm really sorry. And good evening to everyone new to MYCAT and SWAG. I am Kae. What am I? I am one creature of nature, and I'm deeply connected to wild nature. And I define wild nature as wild things in wild places. And in my mind, nothing is more wild than tigers. So everything I love about wild nature is embodied in tigers. Animals that could have killed me. In any of the several hundreds of nights that I bathed in their rivers and slept in their forest. And here I am still alive, but there must be some purpose. And instead, their survival is threatened by humans. Today, I want to put tiger extinction in evolutionary context by stretching your imagination and your arms. Yeah, your arms. I'm gonna need your arms. So stretch let's do the exercise. And I saw some children earlier on the screen. Yeah, please, let them join as well. And after that, I'm gonna go on to a slide. Okay, so stretch your arm like this. Everyone, I can see you, okay?
Yeah, you may turn on your videos. I think Kae likes, she doesn't like talking to the computer. She wants to see you. So turn on your videos.
This is my once a year talk. So I think you better make the best of it. Stretch your arm like this and look at the tip of your left hands, the left finger, the longest one, which is normally for middle one, right? Okay. Big Bang, that's the beginning of the planet Earth, okay? And then look at your right tip of your longest finger. Okay, now you're looking at the right, all right? Your right finger, all right? Everybody looking at the right? Okay, the tip is now 2021, July 30th. So that is your wingspan or the arm span of 4.6 billion years of the history of the planet Earth that you have in your arm. All right? Comment, do you have something wrong with your arms? Okay, I'm watching you. I'm watching you. All right, so when do you think the first life emerged on the earth? Think about it. Use your brain, think. Yeah, use your brain and think. I will give you the answer, but think first. Is it here? 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 It's like around here, 3.8 billion years ago, the first life emerged on the earth. That was a very simple unicellular bacteria, and that cyanobacteria is still among us as part of the life system of the earth, right? It's right here. So 3.8 billion years. And a lot has happened in the last, you're tired, is it? Okay. You really need a little bit of an exercise of your tricep and bicep. Okay, so, okay, you can put your arm down. In the last, a lot has happened in the last 450 million years. That's, okay, I measured my arm span, so I know what I'm talking about, okay? In the last 450 million years, that's about the hand. Okay, so you look at your hand. Okay, that's 450 million years. Don't look at the screen, look at your hand. I'm watching all of you. I think you don't understand this exercise. Okay, this is 450 million years, all right? And the pulse of evolution and extinction coincided with many geological events like glaciation and supervolcanic eruptions, right? This is 450 million years. And this is now 2021, all right? So, and there have been 5 mass extinction episodes, as you know. That's where about 75% of life were gone in the matter of centuries to a millennia, right? And dinosaur evolved 220 million years ago. So that's like around there. And after dinosaur was mammals. Mammals evolved. Then dinosaur went extinct. Dinosaur had to extinct in order for the primates to evolve. So that's about 200 million years ago. And let's talk about the tiger. Tiger is, as a species, is 2 million years old. 2 million years old is less than 1 millimeter of your hand, of my arm, okay? Of my arm. Yours may be slightly different, but less than 1 millimeter, okay? You really like focus. Can you see this? 1 millimeter of your finger is like that white part that you can clip off when you clip the nail. That's the evolution of tiger. That's the life of tiger as a species. And next is the human. Okay, Homo sapiens, and I'm not talking about the modern human, like a 20,000 years modern human history. I'm talking about the Homo sapiens as a species, like a primitive form of Homo sapiens is 200,000 years old. 200,000 years old is 1/10 of a millimeter. A millimeter was a tiger, remember? The lifespan of tiger as a species. 1/10 of a millimeter is us. You try to visualize, you try to see a 1/10 of a millimeter there. You can't really see. So I'm going to demonstrate. Here's a nail filer. You look really carefully, all right? Did you see that? Did you see that? No, right? No, that a single flake of the white stuff, when you file your fingernail once, that's us. And I just got rid of that. That's us. So next I'm going to go into I just wanted to put that in the context. I'm going to share my screen. I'm sharing the screen. Okay, this is me going down the rabbit hole of tiger extinction. And like Vilma said earlier, maybe it's all of us. I know in the audience are my colleagues. We professionals who work on tiger extinction, tiger conservation, day in and day out, 7 days a week for years and decades on, can lose touch with the reality perceived by most other normal people. We're not really normal. When you are in the eye of the storm, you can't see how big the storm is or where it is headed. Every day we are in a crisis mode. No wonder we're so stressed. And I'm gonna stay on this screen for a while, so you might want to rest your eyes. You know, the world is in a big mess and tiger extinction is just a small part of it. So I want to talk about that this evening, but I promise it won't be all doom and gloom. I am going to be, however, as truthful as I can be. So the views expressed here are mine only. Please don't punish or criticize others, including SWAG and MYCAT partners. The next year, 2022, will be my 3rd year of the tiger working in Malaysia. My first year of the tiger was in 1998, and I began my first field research on tigers in Taman Negara with Pahiritan, Malaysia's Wildlife Department. And we together found that Taman Negara had about 75 tigers then, and it was considered the largest known tiger population in Southeast Asia back then. In my 2nd year of the tiger was 2010. I was back in Taman Negara resampling and found that tiger population plummeted. And the same was happening elsewhere. And sure enough, a few years later, Malayan tiger was declared to be critically endangered. And that means that there were more than 50% chance of extinction within 25 years. It's just a chance. So that time we thought there were about 300 tigers left in Malaysia. We, the tiger conservation community, was devastated and called for greater commitment and drastic action from the government, but the decline has continued. And my world was going crazy like this one. And what awakened me, you might not believe it, was the COVID-19. When the COVID hit all of us last year, MYCAT had to cancel all but a few catwalks, and the funds promised by the government never came. So the year 2020 was the financially toughest year for us. So thank you so much for your support. Not only we maintain the conservation work, but we managed to protect and restore more tiger habitats than ever before by engaging local indigenous people. So in May last year, I had a 10-day retreat at home off the grid, gave me a rare chance to float out in the space and watch what was happening on Earth. And this is quite rare. Usually I just fly as far as Taman Negara if I was meditating or something. But I was on Earth space looking at the Earth. For the first time, I could see the world from outside the whirlwind storm of the tiger extinction, and everything kind of made sense to me. I had this unusual, for me, clarity. So coronavirus has hit all of us, but the outcome is so different. We all knew before the COVID that one day we were going to die. But last year, the death became more real and closer. And it has shaken us all out of that false sense of security that bad things happened to other people and not me. The pandemic is far from over yet, and the collapse of various systems, entities, and individual health continue around the world because of just one virus. Or is it? Is it really just one virus collapsing all the system around the world? So we can't quite put a finger on it, but know that something is really wrong. And a lot of people don't want to talk about it, want to skip that deep question. What's going on here? When Homo sapiens first emerged in Africa 200,000 years ago, life expectancy was only 20 years. By the year 1900, 200,000 years later, it doubled to 44 years. And today it is close to 80 years, doubling it in just 100 years. Let's consider the population growth. That's what this graph is supposed to show. Yeah, last 100 years, the exponential growth in many ways. Technological growth, amount of the information that can be packed in a square cm of microchip, or maybe nowadays a square millimeter of microchip. So human impacts, that's just one example. Human impacts on Earth have grown exponentially. We consume a lot more energy than human beings 10,000 years ago or 200,000 years ago. And there are 7.9 billion of us on Earth today. And in that 100 years, the past 100 years, 97% of taiga habitats are gone. These disruptions and decline have caused the deterioration of soil, air, and water quality, pollination, carbon sequestration, list goes on, human health. And other things have increased, such as floods, fires, the number of malnourished people, plastic pollutions, general toxification, ocean acidification, and infectious epidemics. Some scientists say we are at the beginning of 6th mass extinction, which is predicted to go on for 3 centuries. It's not like tomorrow or this decade, okay? So we might have some time, barring probability of nuclear wars and accident. You know that the world collectively have enough nuclear weapons to kill all of us multiple times, okay? And bioweapon wars or accidents, who knows? Pandemics, meteor strikes, super volcanic eruptions, super solar flare hitting us like tomorrow. Of course, there's a probability. But likelihood of climate change wreaking havoc on nature is more certain, and that will wreak havoc on humans in less than next 100 years. So human as a species has just one mission. What do you think our mission is? Just pause and think about it. What is Homo sapiens' mission as a species? It's not a trick question, okay? And I know what Carmen is thinking, but you're not right. That is to propagate and not go extinct. Don't go extinct. That is our mission as a species, and any species. But we seem to be doing just completely the opposite by destroying our life supporting system, this planet. So these are a threat of ecological collapse that I just went through. And how about geopolitical or macroeconomics collapse, or collapse of culture, or traditional belief system, or trust on authorities? You know, a lot of things are collapsing. Our trust on authorities, meaning things like people like medical professionals or government or police or teachers or authorities. And all these are interrelated, just like intricate web of life. And so many things are accelerating. Changes are quickly happening. And while our monkey brains can't catch up, can't comprehend, can't be at the top of the game, some brains, however, seems to be doing just that by attempting to bypass the collective responsibilities for the planet and the obligation to fix some of the problems that we caused. and using technologies to develop escape solutions for a few. So we know something is really wrong. Have you thought about it? Because I've been thinking about this all this while. Something is really wrong, whether you thought about or not. And is this enough to kind of like, oh, something is really going on wrong? Now, next, let's zoom into tiger extinction. You're familiar with the MYCAT graph right there. I'm kind of can't see it, but okay. So this is a hypothetical tiger population. Okay, I have to remind you again, this is a hypothetical tiger population. And the tiger estimate is never like on the smooth line, like as you will see in the MYCAT website there. It's never smooth line because it's not estimate, okay? And this one is estimated every year. Wildlife managers are estimating this tiger population every year since 1920 to 2020 for 100 years, okay? So estimate meaning that there is a measure of errors. And if the measure of error is wide, that means it's not a very reliable estimate like that one. Whereas if the measure of error, that could be confidence interval or standard error, like here, like about there, it's very narrow, right? That means it's trustworthy. It's a pretty reliable measure of the estimate, right? So that's a tiger estimation estimate. No one is counting really tigers every day. And the population fluctuate. Population of tigers today is based on the numbers yesterday, plus birth today, mortality, minus mortality today, right? Obviously, whether artificial mortality or natural cause, plus immigration, animals that came from outside to immigration, and minus immigration, that animals that went outside. So it fluctuates. It's kind of like a stock market. It just goes up and down, naturally, even without having human beings. It is never a smooth trend line like this, right on the dot. Okay, so estimation, fluctuation, and I want to talk about the recovery a little bit because a lot of people seem to think that, oh, Dr. Kae, you're so pessimistic. I don't think I'm being pessimistic. I think I'm just being realistic. This tiger population became protected species in 1970s. All right, so 1970s, like around here, it was coming down pretty rapidly, and then it got on a protected species list on the law. So it is no longer people can really kill tigers. And then the wildlife managers were closely monitoring, protecting and closely monitoring the population. And it appears to be slowly recovering here, stabilizing and recovering, and the estimate were pretty good. But overall, in the big scheme of thing, in 100 years, it's a decline. So it is not really a yearly point estimate that is important, but over the years, what is the trend? Okay, so I'm gonna put this in 2,000 years span. So we talked about the 100 years, right? And that's how many years that our brain, human brain, can like intuitively comprehend. 100 years is about our life span, isn't it? About 80 years if we're lucky, right? So like 10 years minus 10 years plus, parents and grandchildren. I think 100 years we can comprehend this, it's right there, right? So I expanded it to 2,000 years from the year 0 and like that. This is hypothetical, okay? I'm just trying to make a point that it just fluctuates over time. That's just 2,000 years. And how about the 200 years of our coexistence with this species? And how about the 2 million years of tigers' evolution on life on the planet? Okay, I need a lot more slide space to show you that. And lucky for you, organizer have given me only 20 minutes, so I'm not gonna show you the 1,000. Yeah, Vilma is like, yes, don't show me, Kae. Yeah, I'm not gonna show
Kae,
you.
Yeah, Kae, you're running out of time, Kae.
Okay, 1,000
time
years,
is running out.
All right, time is running out. So, okay, so Which brings us to my final point. We are so insignificant, like a drop of water in the ocean. But what is an ocean without the multitude of drops? That's a quote from my favorite movie. You might feel your action too small to counter the big damage inflicted by big industries, big pharma, big agriculture, and misguided priorities of governments and technology. You might even feel hopeless. And I know how you feel. During my last field work, I encountered many dead animals and snares, and I have lived with the torment of a clear-felled ancient forest since then. Broken in spirits, angry and sad, I worked like mad 80 hours a week for decades on. But it wasn't good enough to me. Nothing was good enough to me to make the bad good. And worse still, I was hopeless. I searched but couldn't find the source of hope. And a colleague once told me, every living tiger is our hope. I disagree with that. Every tiger's survival hinges on our action or inaction. To me, they are not our hope, they are our responsibilities. Then I found hope in cat walkers. Keep coming to the tiger forest, just doing their part year after year without knowing exactly what the outcome of their action was. And they were just doing what they can for something they care. To me, everyone who is taking action for wild nature is a hope. Hope for the humanity and hope for the tiger. Sure, maybe it's insignificant. If you did something just once, then keep doing it. Get others to do their part. Connect with others like you and keep doing something for what you care. Individual action become community action and then societal action. Then snowball effects might just make a movement. And I think I see the beginning of that in SWAG. And even if the decline continues and the human-centric world continues to collapse around us, and take the Malayan tiger as one of the collaterals, even if that's the case, at the end of the day, not the end of the world or not the end of the tigers, but end of your day, what really matters is what? How much you did for what you cared. You know, journalists ask me sometimes, Dr. Kae, if you were a decision maker, what would you do for tigers? I think we all are decision makers of our lives and our days. So ask yourself, what decision have I made today for wild nature? If an action becomes a habit, then no need to make repeatedly the same decision over and over. I would like to think of myself as an artist rather than a decision maker. So the question I ask myself is this: how have I expressed myself in line with my truth, very truth? Even if my journey ends tomorrow, I can say that I am satisfied with what I did because I was able to facilitate the positive community actions like what you're doing, no matter how small it might seem to some. Until that last day comes, I intend to see it through. I hope you will continue to be part of that journey too. You are the hope, keep the fire burning. As long as nature conservation is an activity of privileged members of the society, like professionals who are paid to do conservation, yes, NGOs are doing a great job, and you'll find out about that tomorrow. But that's not enough for the planet Earth, because nature conservation is a way of life. It should be a way of life and not a job. The Malayan tiger will not go extinct in our lifetime, as long as we as a community keep the fire burning. Okay, this is not a fact, by the way, it's just a belief. But what if many, many people believe in the same thing and live their lives in line with the belief? The belief might become the truth one day. Is that possible? Yes, there is some probability associated with a possible future. And I'm optimistic about that. So human messed up badly, but a growing circle of citizen conservationists and returning wildlife makes me feel, okay, some humans are not so bad. Together we can restore relationship with Earth, and Earth will respond. Or has it responded already? MYCAT and you have done just that at the critical tiger habitat in Malaysia. I asked for help and people came, and more than 2,000 people came from 38 countries for tigers, patrol the forest, disarm the snares, planted trees month after month. They came for 10 years until the COVID came. Damn the COVID. But don't worry, coronavirus can't stop us in the absence of cat walkers. Local Aborigines are patrolling the area. In an area that was not patrolled it was not protected by the law, wildlife are coming back. And the forest is regenerating because people cared and acted. In the first 5 years, it was just MYCAT and cat walkers. And the big mammals started to come back. Then the government joined the effort to keep the area safe for the wildlife and to restore the forest. So thank you, Helen, Lucas, Muna, our volunteer catwalk leaders, for guiding the volunteers safely to conduct catwalks for all these years. In 2019, the government decided to protect the area as a forest reserve. Yay. Together, we have restored 120 hectares of degraded land. And better news yet is that 14 out of our 31 MYCAT community rangers are now paid by the government and UNDP. MYCAT has been so fortunate to bridge these connections, the connection between humans and nature, a connection among the humans from different sectors, and your connection to tiger conservation. Together, we are reclaiming the wild nature, tigers included. I can't emphasize enough that the ecosystem restoration is possible, but it does take some time. And for all that, thank you all our donors. Oh, but I have to confess, Singayu feels a little empty without catwalkers, so I hope you can resume soon. Lastly, as a bonus to people who are listening, I am going to share my truth. When I let down all my guards and let go of the multiple roles that I play at my work, this is the essence of me that's left. I also find myself in this state when I'm in a deep meditative state. And some of you might know a little bit about Japanese traditional culture and way of life. In my default mental state, even when I am at peace and joyful, there is a little bit hint of sadness. So here it goes like this. My monkey brain and wild nature. When despair of wild nature grows in me, and the perpetual grief keeps me awake at night, I go and float in the river of Taman Negara, catching a dance of light and shadow through the ancient forest, mighty and mellow. I come into the presence of flowing water. I come into the peace of wild things, and I rest in the grace of wild nature, for she has no forethought of grief. Just like you, catwalkers, I too miss the forest and rivers. But fortunately, I can be one within Taman Negara, no matter where I physically am. And this brings me so much peace and stability during this pandemic chaos. I sincerely hope all of you have a place like that in your heart, in this world that is getting hotter and harder to live, and human gets physically and mentally less robust as we live farther and farther from wild nature that gets smaller and smaller. So let's protect these wild things in wild places for their own sake and for our children and their children as a source of inspiration, joy, and healing. On that note, thank you all the citizen conservationists and everyone who is doing the best you can in this tough time. For the Global Tiger Day 2021, I want to commemorate you in honor of tigers in the wild. Focus on your effort today, not the outcome tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kae, for that inspiring talk and the lovely poem at the end. Yeah, we will carry on. Thanks. Next up, we have Mr. Hazril Rafhan bin Abdul Halim. Mr. Hazril is the Senior Assistant Director of Wildlife Conservation Division, the Department of Wildlife and National Parks Malaysia, Perhilitan. And Mr. Hazril is head of the Tiger Unit and has been the head of the Tiger Unit for 14 years. So if anyone knows wild tigers well, it's Mr. Hazril, and working for the government. He has been planning, implementing, and monitoring the National Tiger Conservation Action Plan. And he's done several, research studies on wildlife in protected areas as well as in the forest reserve. And he is the lead in conducting the first national tiger survey in Malaysia. And that was for 4 years, from 2016 to 2020. Let's hear Mr. Hazril tell us about the project, this massive project to survey tigers in Malaysia. Mr. Hazril, please.
Thank you very much, Wilma. A very good evening to everybody, the organizer, the panelists, Dr. Kae and also Lara. And Dr. Kae, you're very inspiring us, everybody here, to hear about your talk and your philosophy. And it's such amazing thing what you're doing now. Okay, not for the ado, I would like to share my experience working with the government in conducting the first Malaysian tiger survey in Peninsular Malaysia. So I'll share my slide. Hold on. Okay, everybody, can you see my slide presentation? Okay. First of all, of course, my name is Hazril bin Abdul Halim. I'm working with the Department of Wildlife and National Park. We call it Perhilitan almost 14 years ago. And my first task in the department, I've been tasked to be a lead for the tiger unit. So until now, I'm working into that matter and very closely working with the forest. And of course, I'm being keep in touch with Dr. Kae and also my former director, Dr. Siva, as well. And for the introduction, it was begin with the National Tiger Conservation Action Plan. When I first joined the government in 2007, so we will have, we need to implement the National Tiger Conservation Action Plan, that we have 80 actions to implement under it. So it was endorsed by the National Biodiversity and Biotechnology Council in 2009, when our deputy minister during that time, and now he is our prime minister. And after that, we have the Tiger Summit in 2010 that there is a commitment from the 13 tiger range country, including Malaysia, to conserve the tiger and to doublize the tiger within until 2020. So all the tiger range country have been urged to conduct the national tiger survey. So the Malaysia during past 10 years ago, we don't have any big scale survey for the tiger. Mostly in Peninsular Malaysia, the department taking care mostly on the Taman Negara area, one of the core tiger habitat in Peninsular Malaysia. And the other side of the protected area has been managed by the respective agency in the state government, of course, been assisted by the NGO like WWF in Bulan Temanggung, and also the Wildlife Conservation Society, WCS, in the Southern Forest Complex in Johor National Parks. Then after that, we proposed to the National Biodiversity Council in 2014 to get the federal fund for the tiger survey. So unfortunately, we got lucky and got the fund to Malaysia to have the first national tiger survey that has been never done before, and it's also the big task for me to handle about. Actually, we already allocated about 18.7 million ringgit. Malaysia is about 4.4 US dollar. And this is a very huge area that we need to cover throughout the Peninsula Malaysia. It's about 50,000 square kilometer. And somehow we managed to put the camera traps almost 40,000 square kilometer. This survey has been taken in the period of 5 years from 2016 until 2020. So this survey also we have the collaboration closely with the WWF Malaysia, WCS Malaysia, Pelindung, the local NGO, and also the RIMBA. So for that, we could manage to handle this task. And yes, the survey had been done last year in 2020, and a lot of things to do after that to analyze it. And of course, we analyze first the tiger analysis part, and it shows that the tiger population is really in a crisis. It shows that it's less than 200 tigers in the wild right now. So it's not located in the the same place. I mean, in the same, all the tiger is scattered everywhere in all forests. So it might be the 200 tiger is everywhere. So we don't know that they could breed or not, or how they are living. So we need to ensure that from the analysis also we need to discover how much of prey species, if it's enough for them or not, and so on. So this first national tiger survey result is very important to us to know the locality of the tiger population and also the prey species, and also the land use changes in the Peninsula Malaysia. So otherwise we cannot do the proper mitigation of the proper interaction to do more better for the tigers in the future. And this is the plot that I said before. We divide into 20 plots of forest. We call it the Central Forest Pine Forest. The forest still have a very big forest and also connected each other. So there is about another 15,000 square kilometer. It is the dark color, the green dark color. We couldn't manage to cover in that area. That is the fragmented area that we believe, and of course there is a tiger also in that particular area. But somehow we managed to fulfill to cover the very big forest throughout the Peninsula Malaysia. So we divided into each plot. So WWF Malaysia take 3 plots, Pelindung and Perhentian and so on, and WCS also involved with this survey. But what I want to mention is that this is only the snapshot survey. That means that every plot just managed to conduct survey only one time. Yeah, it's not a regular or continuous monitoring. So we could, well, when we detect the tiger today, we don't know what happened to that particular tiger in the future or in the next year. So it is important to the country if we could have the regular monitoring continuously, maybe in the between 5 years to monitor the tiger where it's going. Of course, we know already where is the tiger. Where is the tiger now? It's only 200 tiger. So we should do the monitoring and try to secure the habitat and also monitor the encroachment and so on and poaching activity. And the map show that there is we install about 4,000, more than 4,000 camera traps throughout the Peninsula Malaysia. It's a very huge task. It's not easy actually to go into the forest. So you need to go into the deep forest, and the topography is a very hilly area and so on. A lot of trees, and it's not same like we sit in the town and so on. So when you get into join the MYCAT walk, so you have some such experience when into the rainforest area. So our activities during the NTS is we install the camera traps. This is very important activity that we need to capture the tiger stripes, the tiger body, because we need the tiger stripe to differentiate each tiger individual. So we put 2 cameras in one location oppositely, and also we need to tracking the tiger. We using the tiger trails and detect the tiger sign. So we need to put properly where is the tiger's detection mostly highly there. So, somehow we also use to see where is the tigers need, like near to the river. Of course, we need to find out the tigers' urines, and also their sketch trees and so on. And also we need to check the camera traps regularly, because we need to change the battery and also the memory cards. And also we need to observe the wildlife sign, including the tiger, and taking a note and marking the area. And after that, we need to compile all the information, all the photos, all the data together. It is about more than 3 million photos that we compiling. It's a lot of photos, and a lot of work need to sort the photos also and to compile it. And yeah, we managed to compile it, and first we do it for the tiger. And this is what we do. We ID the tiger, depends on the tiger stripes. So we need both flank of the right and left flank of the tiger. So this we can compare each tiger individual by comparing each stripes. And for to estimate the population, we use the specially explicit capture-recapture analysis that mostly used by the researcher by using the camera trapping. And also we use our program to analyze others important analysis too. And yeah, this is another activity that we used to be do in night. Of course, we need to rest at night. So this is very quiet and a very nice moment where you can talk each other, share experience, and also we need to feel the form. So we do in the night. So of course we enjoy cooking together, and almost the ranger and also the ranger and the others that join our program also. They are turn to be a chef every time. So it's good to have a very good connection and collaboration with all team in the forest. This is a photo of the forest in Taman Negara, the view in Taman Negara in the night, in some area in prime tiger area. It's very nice. And this is the challenges that the team, the whole team, including the department and the NGO face when we do the monitoring inside the forest. Of course, sometimes we couldn't imagine when I start join the department, I say that, wow, we need to go into deep forest, that forest, and very far away. we can go or not. So I realized that, hey, what kind of animal inside the forest, how we want to walk inside, and then I just go in. I just been tasked, or you go in this starting point and you go out at that point. So I use only the map and also the compass. So like we do now, the team we doing now, they used to be tracking in the wild with the compass, and we supply them with the maps and also the GPS and also the equipment such as a satellite phone for emergency to them. So they also facing difficulties when crossing the river during the season, rainy season, and also in the dry season also. We need to push out more effort to push the boats when we use the boat as for the logistics. And some of the NGO and also our partners, the local people, they also involved with this survey. They can make the rafting, so the bamboo rafting they use for their transportation and also the logistic. And also with us, we also using the boat for logistic. And there is some incident that the boat is broken and damaged, so the guy can fix it. So the skill that have into our ranger also have the skill to repair the engine. So unfortunately, the boat can be used after that. Then our camera trap also have a problem also. When we install the camera trap in the forest, it can be stolen by the poachers and also damaged by the wildlife. So it's around 20 to 30% of the total camera traps have been lost or stolen and damaged by the wildlife. And this camera trap also is not, of course, nowadays you can get the cheap one, but somehow we use the electronics one. It's a very durability is very high and also very good photo, and also but it's a bit expensive also. But when coming into the technology right now, of course, the camera trap now is more light, but it's not really light actually. When you put inside your bag, with your shirts and all together with your food and so on, it's most likely more than 20 to 30 kg you need to bring into the forest for almost 2 weeks. So every month we targeted about 2 weeks in the forest. So you imagine that our example, our rangers and our team, when we have the survey into Taman Negara, especially in the very high mountain as Gunung Tahan and also the others mountains, every month they go into that area. So not only one time. So every month they need to go to check the cameras and install the cameras and go and do some correction if needed and so on. And also the other NGO also facing the similar challenges. We need to remove the timber that is blocking the off-road area in the forest reserve. Then there is also the cars and the trucks stuck in the severe muddy roads, and also some of them is got an accident, but luckily they are all alive and safe. And some NGOs tend to use more initiative than they use the motorbikes. Local people use the motorbike and also the mountain bikes to go into the forest, so you can less the time to do the survey. And also they are facing into kind of this matter. Some of our team also got the spider bite and got allergies when you see the leeches bite. It's actually look like a very hurt, and also but somehow it's maybe if you get more allergies, so maybe you can get into that kind of of picture like in the picture. And also there is a team that got the several fever, and so they got in the leptospirosis, and also lost in the jungle. There's one case of our team lost in the jungle last 2 years ago, and we managed to find him back in safely, thanks to God. And this is a picture, it's worth from 1,000 words. That I mean that this is a picture of some of the tigers in the wild that we captured during the NTS in a various area throughout the peninsula of Malaysia. We also could manage to counter with several breeding in the forest. Is a very good too. And some of the NGO also like WWF and Pelindung and also WCS, they maintain their camera traps in the wild. So until now, there are more tiger breeding has been recorded until now. This is very, very important reports to us to move forward later on. That's why I'm saying that regular monitoring is important to ensure that we can calculate it whether the tigers population are down or up in every year. And this is another important result from the camera trapping. We not only take the photo of tiger, the camera trap also managed to capture everything inside the forest, including our other wildlife. Especially in this slide, as I can share you, is some other animals that counter with the camera traps. Yeah, so there is a leopard. So the leopard with his cup, the clouded leopard, golden cat, leopard cat doe, and binturong is very rare to see. Malay weasels, gulls, sparrows, sambar, muntjac, yellow-throated martin, crab-eating mongoose, and smooth otter. Yeah, so there is more than 30 species, I think, more than 30 to 50 species we are counted, including there is also the birds and also the primates and others. So it's really good to see our wildlife, our forests living with the harmony. And yes, we need to protect them from the poachers and maintain them to be seen in the future. And this is what we don't want to see in the future. We see when we got the photo of the wildlife, we also got this photo, the tiger with three-legged species as a tiger, tapir, panther, and sun bear. And some of them managed to get through the snare and living more than that, and managed to live more. So this is very important message to us also, that our forest has been more poaching inside our forest, and we need to tackle them. We need to give the awareness to local people also not to use snare and so on. And this is our team member from various respective agencies, the department, the WWF, Pelindung, and Rimba. They are very committed, and they are very, very good person. They sacrifice their life, their families, and they are very committed into the works and go to the forest every month to get finish up the first National Tiger Survey. I am very thanks to them to participate with the government of Malaysia to do this kind of task, the first National Tiger Survey. Okay, so in my conclusions here, what is the important thing is we need to secure the habitat. We need to maintain the habitat. If we couldn't save the habitat, so we will lose everything, because the tiger needs a lot of space. The elephant also needs a lot of space. So we need to maintain what we have we must maintain the connectivity, the corridor of the wildlife, so the wildlife can move to the other area, to the other forest. For them, it is the same forest, but somehow in Peninsular Malaysia, there is a lot of state, but the wildlife don't have any border. And what we have now is the last hope for the Malayan tiger and other wildlife as a shelter and survival for the future generation. Okay, thank you for everyone for good hearing to me today. So any information about the Malayan tiger, you can search to our wildlife department on our website, and also the harimau.my website. So all information about the Malayan tiger inside there. If you want to donate also to the government, also you can do inside the harimau.my. So thank you very much, and I hope you can spread together to your families, your relatives, your friends, to support the Malayan tiger and the tiger conservation globally. And I do want to send my wish, happy Global Tiger Day. Of course, it's been celebrated yesterday, and I would like to commemorate to all respective ranger and their team, especially the ranger, because tomorrow we will celebrate the Global Ranger Day. There, in the globally, the ranger sacrifice themselves. There's a ranger have been killed in the wild by protecting the wildlife and the habitat. And yeah, we need to celebrate them. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hazril, for that very informative presentation. We see a lot of questions, and we will, ask the questions for the people soon. Very interesting, and obviously a very big job that the government has undertaken to find out more about the wild Malayan tiger. So really good job, and we'd like to discuss more after our next presentation. So thanks again, Mr. Hazril. And well, we come to the last speaker for today before question and answer, and she is none other than Ms. Lara Ariffin. Lara is the director, producer, and editor of Layar Liar, or Wild Screen, which is a 52-part series of wild films about Malaysia's natural heritage, forests, as well as wildlife, and about the heroes who help save the wildlife and the forests. Layar Liar is created with children in mind, Malaysian children, because it's intended for the kids to know what awesome wildlife and forests they have in Malaysia. Lara herself is a professional, is trained as an architect, but for the last 20 years, she's been making documentaries, and her documentaries are award-winning ones. We are so privileged to find Layar Liar recently because of all their films, and Lara is going to show us episode 5, which is on Harimau Malaya, or the Malayan tiger. Lara, please.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much, Wilma, for that very kind introduction. If possible, I will share my screen first before I start. Hang on a second. I got the right screen. Sorry.
Yes.
Sorry. I need to just put the audio and sound. Yep. This one, right? Okay. Yep. Are we good?
Yes.
Yes.
Very good.
So, good evening, everyone, and really thank you for being here and joining us on this lovely sharing session to celebrate Global Tiger Day. I want to, before I sort of tell you more about Layar Liar, I wanted to share a little bit about my journey. How did I get here into making films about tigers, and then eventually even forming my own NGO. So this is a picture of my husband and I, and as I said, I basically trained as an architect and married a filmmaker, and he was having way too much of a good time, So he used to be going on all these wonderful shoots, and I said, I think I would like to join you. So I basically gave up architecture and became a filmmaker. And that was almost 30 years ago, actually. And in all that time, we've made more than 50 nature-based documentaries. So, I mean, our life has been, that's our greatest passion, is to make films about wildlife. So how did our love affair with the tiger begin? And actually it started way back in 2005. And would you believe, I wrote my first documentary proposal about the tigers, and it was called Ghost in the Garden of Eden. And we never got to make the film. But believe me, what came out of it was that we met some amazing people, and that includes Dr. Kae. And would you believe, we went and my team filmed her in Taman Negara, and that became the basis of our very, very first proposal. So today I'm going to share with you something, a very, very short clip of Dr. Kae.
Tigers symbolize the wilderness remaining in Asia. And I think when the tiger is gone, the wildness of Asia is gone.
So, Kae, that was you many, many years ago. And that became the start and the inspiration for us to sort of keep on pushing with tigers. Because even then, all those years ago, you had already been ringing the bells, the warning bells, that tigers are in trouble. And, we sort of, for me, I think that we want to try and help as much as we could, and in any way that we could. So I think what we decided was that we would make pro bono videos for anybody or any NGO that sort of wanted their help, and we said, okay, we would do these films and contribute how we could do best. And that was making films. So I'm going to show you one of the other films. I sort of pulled out all my archive stuff. And we did this for MYCAT, I think, I don't know, 10 years ago at least, I think. So maybe 15 years. So I'm just going to show you this quick clip. So yeah, so I mean, for us, we felt that we would try, and help as many NGOs as possible. I mean, we've done films for MNS. We did a film on Temenggor, which I think helped with, for Belum to finally be, being gazetted as a state park. Film is very powerful in terms of people can see the images and they can fall in love, or they can get angry. It can bring out a lot of emotion in people. So, I mean, we continued all this time doing films for WWF, Traffic, Rimba. We've done a whole series of films. And as I said, this is how that we felt that we could really contribute and give back. At the same time, we were always trying to do this broadcast documentary, trying to make a film that could be for a much bigger audience. And funnily enough, we were asked by Channel News Asia to work on a film in Sumatra. And we did a film on Sumatra's last tigers based in Indonesia, in the southern tip of Sumatra, and a place called Tumbling. It was very inspiring for us to work on that film. If you Google online, I think under Sumatra's Last Tigers, you'll find it. I think there's more than 3 million views already just on watching that documentary. But again, I think the best thing about working on documentaries is meeting amazing people. And you know, all through our career, we've met so many nice people, inspiring people. And one of them is, for me, is also the late Alan Rabonowitz. And we filmed him in Tumbling. And I have a copy of his interview, which I hold very closely to my heart. And I think this is, you know, sort of keeps us going, is when we listen to Alan Rabonowitz. I'm going to just play that clip now.
This is part of the lungs of Indonesia, part of the lungs of the earth, and it's part of the health of Indonesia and of this part of all of Asia. So people have to realize that this has to be protected and that one person, one group alone cannot do it. Conservation is a war, and you go from battle to battle to battle. After each battle, you can loosen your helmet cord a little, but not take your helmet off, because you wait for the next battle. These gems can be saved, can be brought back. Once they're gone, they're gone. You can't bring animals back from the dead. So the key is to really work at saving them.
So finally, in 2019, we managed to get a little bit of funding from the Malaysian government and to make our own film on Malaysia's Last Tigers. So you know, when I think about it, this is 16 years in the making from the time I actually talked to Kae all those years ago. And, you know, today I've done the final mix of the film and it goes out to our distributors on Monday, and the film is made. And finally, I'm hoping that it will be out on National Geographic in a couple of months. So when it does come out, I will share with all of you to watch it. Yeah, I think it will be. It's one beautiful film for me. I feel I've taken so much time for it, and it's like giving birth. It's been a long time. So keep a lookout for that. But I think one of the things that, for me, you know, as we go out and film and meet people, and I've been fortunate to have a lot of friends in the NGO world, and this is with Traffic. I went with them on a school trip up to Ulu Perak, one of the schools, more remote schools, and they were doing an education program there. And it was really quite amazing, because as you talk to the kids and ask them, what animals live in our Malaysian jungles? And what came out was giraffe, zebra. And I'm like, what? You know, and that really, really bothers me, because I think the root of the problem lies in how can you care for something when you don't even know about it, right? So, and I think Malaysia doesn't appreciate what we have, you know? We are so detached from it. Kids don't go and swim in the river. We don't have that, especially kids in KL, of course, you know, they don't even know much. And I think, you know, chicken comes from the supermarket, you know, and so I feel that is a huge problem when you don't even appreciate what you have in your backyard. How are you going to protect it? So that's how really Layar Liar came about. So I want to do a little test with you guys. There are 9 pictures here. Mind you, Hazril gave you a bit of a clue just now. But out of the 9 pictures, how many can you actually name? And as monkey is not an answer, nor is a butterfly. So if you can have a quick look and write down in the chat group. I mean, I think, you know, out of these 9 animals, what do you think they are? So I'm going to give another 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, boom. These are all the different animals that we have, right? So, and some of the ones which are from camera traps are really thanks to Jabatan Perilitan's National Tiger Survey that we had access to these pictures. And I was blown away when I saw them, because I was like, God, I've never seen one of these. And it is so amazing. And you fall in love, right? For me, it's about falling in love with what we have. And I think if we fall in love, then we can protect it. So, and that was the basis for me. I want Malaysians to fall in love with what we have. And that was the basis for Layar Liar, because when I looked online and I looked for Malaysian animals, let alone in Bahasa Malaysia, it didn't exist. Not enough information, and not enough that it was beautiful, you know? So I think that's where we decided to go ahead and create this platform for kids. It's an online platform, and you can just go and watch it anytime you want, when you want. You don't have to be, you know, it's not like a television series that you got to wait for it to come out. So I'm going to show you the trailer for Layar Liar first, quick trailer. And this is of the overall series. So our tagline for Layar Liar is to know is to love is to protect. I mean, so, you know, that's the core of what we want. And so for the next, I think we're at episode 5 today. So we still got another, we're 52 episodes, one a week. It's absolute killer for us to get done, but we're doing it. So they're about Malaysian animals, places, and people. The reality is we've been able to collect a lot of the footage from all the films we've been doing over the last 10 years. So, and we believe that it was time to share it with all Malaysians. So we want everybody to watch it, all the schools, you know, to be able to watch it. And it was, you know, also thanks to Yayasan Sam Darby to be able to give us the opportunity to make this series. I mean, you know, so that we're very thankful for too. You know, we purposely chose the voice of a young boy. He's 15 years old, Adam Hogg. And we wanted to make the films in Bahasa Malaysia. So it is narrated in BM with English subtitles. And, you know, we wanted the films to be as informative as possible. They are not the TikTok generation kind of films. We want these films to last for 10 years at least, you know, so that people can have access to them. So without further ado, I'm going to show you our tiger episode and enjoy. Yeah.
Di hutan semenanjung Malaysia hidup seekor haiwan ikonik, harimau Malaya, atau lebih dikenali dengan nama Pak Belang. Tahukah anda, harimau Malaya hanya terdapat di semenanjung Malaysia dan selatan Thailand? Di dunia, terdapat 9 subspesies harimau belang, tetapi 6 yang masih ada hingga kini. Dulu terdapat lebih daripada 100,000 ekor harimau di dunia. Malahnya sekarang hanya 4,000 ekor sahaja. Kini hanya 5% daripada kawasan asalnya yang tinggal. Harimau juga dikenali sebagai Raja Rimba. Ia adalah karnivor terbesar dalam ekosistem hutan kita. Harimau adalah pemangsa apex. Ia mengawal populasi haiwan herbivor daripada mendominasi hutan tropika. Peranan harimau adalah mengimbangi ekosistem dan memastikan hutan kita sihat dan terpelihara. Hutan yang sihat akan memanfaatkan kita dengan memberi udara dan air yang bersih. Harimau selalunya bersendirian, tetapi ia boleh berkomunikasi dengan pelbagai bunyian. Normanya sangat kuat dan boleh didengari sejauh 3 km. Ia juga berkomunikasi dengan meninggalkan kesan. Semburan air kencing menandakan kawasan, jantina dan bila mereka mahu mengawan. Kebiasaannya, ibu harimau akan melahirkan 2 atau 3 ekor anak. Anak harimau lincah bermain sesama sendiri. Mereka akan dijaga rapi dan diajar skill kehidupan dari ibu mereka sehingga usia 2 tahun sebelum mereka hidup berdikari. Kucing di rumah tak sukakan air. Tapi harimau suka berendam untuk menyejukkan dirinya. Tahukah anda, ia mampu berenang sejauh 6 km? Sejak beberapa tahun lalu, Jabatan Perhilitan telah menjalankan survey harimau kebangsaan yang pertama di negara ini untuk mengira bilangan harimau yang masih hidup di hutan kita. Mereka menggunakan perangkap kamera untuk mengambil gambar harimau di habitat asalnya. Setiap harimau mempunyai lebih kurang 100 belang di badannya. Tahukah anda, macam cap jari kita, belang harimau adalah unik dan tersendiri. Ahli konservasi dapat mengenali harimau melalui belangnya, serta mengira jumlah yang tinggal di hutan kita. Kini, bilangan harimau di negara kita sangat membimbangkan, dengan kurang dari 150 ekor yang tinggal. Harimau telah kehilangan habitatnya. Tanah hutan dibuka secara besar-besaran untuk pembangunan dan pertanian. Hanya 43% hutan yang tinggal di semenanjung Malaysia. Kini, ancaman terbesar harimau Malaya adalah pemburuan haram. Harimau diburu untuk setiap anggota badannya sebagai perhiasan dan untuk perubatan tradisional yang tidak pasti berkesan. Makanan kegemaran harimau ialah rusa sambal dan ia juga telah diburu untuk dimasak rendang dan sate. Tolonglah jangan makan rusa lagi. masa depan harimau Malaya sangat kelam. Ikon negara yang terlihat di pelbagai lambang, termasuk jata negara kita, kini memerlukan pertolongan seluruh rakyat dan kerajaan Malaysia untuk memastikan ia terus hidup. Bayangkan hutan kita tanpa harimau. Kita akan kehilangan seekor haiwan yang sangat indah dan sangat penting. Pudarlah semangat negara kita jika harimau sudah pupus.
You know, I would really like to thank Department of Wildlife and the NGO Pelindung for contributing all the images, the camera trap images that, you know, have really helped us make this series, you know. So I think I'm very thankful for that. I just want to run quickly that with the films, we have also done activity sheets which are downloadable for free, and these activity sheets are all in Bahasa. Unfortunately, they're not in English, and they're fun. They've got facts. We've got a quiz, so if you watch the film, you can do the quiz. And then we've got crossword puzzles. We've got Sudoku games. We've got, this one's quite a fun one, fact or myth. So is the urine of the tiger, does it smell like popcorn? So you've got to then download the workbook and tell me what the answer is. We've got art. We've got, we want to encourage kids to learn about it in language class, so you can have debate. Should poachers, for example, get the death penalty? And we've also encouraging kids to write to the Prime Minister to state for him to do more, right? So these are all part of Layar Liar's activity workbooks. But you know, as we are celebrating Global Tiger Day, I feel there's really not much to celebrate about. We have so little tigers left, but at the same time, I refuse to give up. I refuse to say, you know, it's gone yet. And 3 years ago, some friends and I joined, some friends joined Harun and I, and we basically set up our NGO really out of frustration that we felt that more had to be done. So we set up Rimau. And so basically with Rimau now we are focusing mainly on boots on the ground. So we have our own patrol unit in Royal Belum. We work closely with the state park, and I'm very thankful to the state park for coming up and working together. Shareza has been amazing. And basically we are now supporting, I'm running out of time, so I'm talking faster and faster. So we now have 19 patrollers in Royal Belum. And what is also quite amazing about the project that we're working on is that it's what we call, the team is called Menrat, and Menrat means people in the Jahai language. And so what we wanted to do was create a community fund that goes with the patrolling. So for every day they go patrolling, 10 ringgit from every patroller goes into a community fund that will benefit the community as a whole. So, and these are the kids from our village in Kampung Tanain. And these are our Global Tiger Day celebration last year that we were able to go and spend with them. Amazing, amazing, amazing kids. So as tomorrow is World Ranger Day, I would like to acknowledge the rangers as well for all their hard work from all the communities that are working, whether it's Perilitan's rangers or Almanrat rangers or Kai's rangers, everybody that works in the forest. I think, you know, it is amazing the work that they're doing. And so we have an episode on rangers next week. Please watch Layar Liar next week for that. So, you know, what do you do? I feel that everybody should step it up, and not only the government, and we should push the government to really step it up. But I think us as people, Malaysians, Singaporeans, or whoever it is in the world, you know, we cannot let the tiger go. The Sumatran rhino is already gone. And my suggestion is do what you can that you can do best. So for example, if you're a lawyer, right, help with making sure that the judiciary gives maximum sentences. If you're an accountant, help any NGO with their auditing and accounting fees, or help run fundraising activities. If you can bake well, which I can't, I can tell you that, make cupcakes and sell them to your friends, and that money can go into an NGO's work on tiger conservation. I had a girl, I think 17 or 18-year-old girl, who was a massive K-pop fan. And what she did was she made stickers and merchandise of her K-pop band and then gave 300 ringgit to me. I was so touched, because I think it is getting more people to feel a love for our tigers, and that's what it's all about, I think. So I think, my last line is really, let's work together. And, what would our rainforest be without its monarch? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lara and Layar Liar, for that wonderful presentation. Somebody just typed in the chat, I am in love, Miss Lara. So you've inspired several people on this call, and thank you very much. And there is just so much that we can all do together. Kae and Mr. Hazril and Lara, you've inspired me, and I'm sure you've inspired a lot of the people who are from Singapore listening in, and those from around the world. So we really, really thank you for that. We have some time, but not very much, for question and answer, but we are determined to get you to know what questions people have in mind. Yeah, so Carmen, would you start first with the questions? Carmen and I are going to be asking questions for the audience.
Yes, let's dive right into it. We have quite a few questions. I think this one is for Mr. Hazril. What's the main lesson learned from this first National Tiger Survey?
Okay, thank you very much for the question. So, in the first time, I'm really thinking it's a very hard work to do the survey, because we'll do is most likely 10 or 20 times than we doing before. Before this, we just doing the small focus area, and now we need to fulfill to almost 50,000 square kilometer. We need to get into the forest and put the camera traps. So it can be done, actually. It can be done by the good effort, by the good collaboration with respective agencies, and especially the NGOs and the local people. So we can do it where we are hard to do it. So for me, I'm positively say that we also need to think positive when to do anything that we try to do. So that's inspiring me to do the best for the tigers, especially for the tigers. Thank you.
Yeah.
Vilma, next question.
Thank you, Mr. Hazril. The next question can be answered by any of the three speakers, Kae or Mr. Hazril or Lara. What is the key threat to the Malayan tiger? Maybe everybody can answer, huh? Can you take turns? What is the key threat? Maybe I'll ask Mr. Hazril first, and then Kae and Lara. Mr. Hazril, what's the main threat?
The main threat for the tiger, of course, the loss of its habitat, and because of the development, the development of the country, that might turn to have a string of the habitat losses for the tiger. And of course, the poaching activity is the most important and the most harm to the wildlife, not for the tiger and almost all the wildlife. And if we not only injure the tiger, if we kill everything inside the forest. So this is the main indicator when we do the tiger for its conservation. The habitat we need the habitats, and also the poaching activities must be curbed. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Hazril. Kae, what's the main threat?
I would say the main threat is poaching snares in Malaysia. Not only the threat, but the main, yes.
Thanks, Kae. And what about Lara? What do you think?
Like a lack of empathy. You know, I think at the end of the day, even for poachers, I mean, we know poaching is a massive problem. We know that loss of habitat is a massive problem, but it is a bigger problem for those that don't have the heart to make this stop. And I think we need to get people to be more responsive to, you know, what our environment needs from us.
Thanks very much to the three of you. You know, actually, we just want to make a point that we have a couple of young women students who are actually taking notes from all the lectures, and they are going to write a summary statement, you know, to be presented to the Global Tiger Forum. And Dr. Siva Ilegu Pillay has so kindly agreed to, he's an honorary member of the Global Tiger Forum, and he has agreed to bring our statement from the conference to the Global Tiger Forum. And I think, yeah, some really nice points coming out now. Carmen, over to you.
Okay, yeah. There is a question about following up on the point about the threat of poaching. Has there been any investigation into these poachers? Do we know how many there are, and what can be done? My apologies for my dog barking, if you could hear it. But I think this question is for Mr. Hazril.
Thank you. Is how many there are? I forgot about the figure, how many is it? Maybe you can, later on, we have another session to us, our DG, maybe we'll talk about that. But there is a poaching came from mainly from the Indo-Chinese poachers, came from Thailand, mainly Thailand, Cambodia, Myanmar, and also Vietnam. So they are coming from the north or everywhere from the sea, and all borders are open to them to come over to Malaysia to get anything from our biodiversity. So yes, I think it's more than 100 people for the past 5 years have been curbed and will be bring to the court. Yeah. So maybe the actual figure I will send you later on, or maybe it will touch by our DG for the next session. Thank you.
Thank you. Vilma?
Yes.
I think we can take maybe, you know, the last question, because it's we're running, we're running late.
We're running late. I think, could we do this last question and then the last question? So two more.
Okay.
Just want to ask a question on prey. So someone asked the question about how abundant are the prey species? And so we know that prey species are the different species of deer and wild pig. So samba, maybe kijang, wild pig. How abundant are the prey species? And this is to both Mr. Hazril and Kae and Lara, who would like to talk on that? Tiger prey.
Yeah, maybe I can talk first. From our observation under the First National Tiger Survey, so we know that not only tiger, the other species that are facing the extinction is the samba deer. There's a very less of detection of samba deer in our forest. It's less than, I think, less than 50 detection, maybe less than that, if I'm not forgotten. But it's a very alarm also for that species. Of course, we know that a lot of samba deer last time a lot have been found in the Royal Belum. and but right now is being pushed and very less actually. So the department also will do something about this. Maybe we'll try to collaborate with private company or ourselves to breed back the somebody and release back to the wild. But somehow the other species like kijang, the moonjack, and also the wild boar is the abundance is very high. The abundance is everywhere. So, but to catch those moonjack and also the wild boar is a bit challenges with the tiger. So, yeah, because they'll tend to take about big prey species more easy than like the light species like the moonjack and also the wild boar is very fast when they run in the wild. Okay.
Thanks, Mr. Hazril. Kae?
Yeah, I agree with Hazril. Yeah, sambar abundance is very low. And I believe that it has been low quite some time. So the major cause for tiger population decline is not because the lack of food for tigers. So those are the two threats that we talked about. I mean, the people's empathy and better educated and informed Malaysians who are to act, it's more to me is an enabling factor. The threats, and so the lack of prey, I don't think is a major threat. It could, I mean, if we have a lot more sambar, and that would be really important when tiger population, now it's really down to close to zero. Okay, yeah, so when that population is really close to zero, they really need to be protected first, right? And when it's stabilized and it start going up, then now we need to start having more prey. But like Hazril said, back in the year, the moonjack and wild boar are widely distributed. I don't know how abundant they are in terms of abundance, but in terms of distribution, they are widely distributed. And they don't seem to be affected too much by presence of people. So the impacts of road, for example, or the human settlement, their distribution don't seem to be impacted much. So there still be quite a bit of prey for tigers to prey on, unless there's an African, swine flu or come and then wipe out the wild boar, like all of a sudden, then that's going to be a huge catastrophe for tigers. Yeah.
So sounds like it's we have to tackle the poaching. Yeah. Well, I mean, we've come to the last question. Carmen, shall I ask it? So we want to ask, all three of our speakers, starting with Kae and then Mr. Hazril and Lara. If you had one wish and your wish would be granted like tomorrow, all right, you have one wish and the wish will be granted tomorrow regarding tigers, what would your wish be?
Well, do I have to go first?
No, you don't have to, yeah. Anybody who has the idea.
It would have been great if you had warned us. I have many wishes, oh my God.
One wish. Okay, the most is two wishes.
Who can go first? Okay, let me think about this.
Anybody. Gentlemen can go first also.
Okay. So my wish if I wake up for tomorrow is a very magical way. Yeah, of course we want to double the tiger. So when I wake up tomorrow, I hope that the tiger is already 1,000 in the wild. This is my dream. So in the future also, yeah, we want to see the most magnificent creature, especially for the tiger, is still in the wild and still living in a very healthy and social life with other animals. And for the next generation, we know about the tiger for the next 10, 20 years or 50 years, 1 decade more, 100 decades later on. Okay.
Thanks, Mr. Hazril. So at least 1,000 tiger who will run wild and free. And
Yes.
that your children and your grandchildren and future generations will know a Malayan tiger living wild and free. We hope your dream will come true. Now the ladies who
I'll
would
go
like
first,
to go
Kae,
next.
so you kind of have a few more seconds to think. I think my wish would be for people to wake up and get out of this la la land that that we have to and not to ignore our environment. I think in this, just looking around us today in our COVID status, right, we have brought this on to us, to ourselves, to a certain extent. We've just taken and taken and taken and taken and taken, and we keep taking from our natural world. And I think people have got to wake up, and that's my dream. I don't know whether that will ever happen, but my dream is for people for that light bulb moment to switch on in people's heads and say, yeah, I think we're going to do something now, even if it's late, even if we're at the very end now for tigers, I'm still hoping for that light bulb moment that people are going to wake up.
And may your dream come true, Lara. Yeah, we will try to help wake them up. And I think to a certain extent, all those kids that are going to see Layar Liar will wake up, I think, fall in love with Malaysia's natural heritage. Hi.
Okay, I am so glad Lara already covered that point. So
I don't have one point.
That, right? Yeah, so at least I have one more to talk about, right? Because it's not right. This is like I've been talking about citizen conservations, and then so Lara already talked about people to wake up, and people can be people in the police, people can be in the government. It's not just a citizen conservationist, right? So if I was to ask for one magic wand tomorrow, right? Just tomorrow to make a big change. I think that would be for the government to have adequate resources and the capacity and the will to enforce the law that already exists. That's it.
Thank you, Kae, and I hope your wish will come true. And yeah, we will try. I'm sure everybody here, there's so many people who are here, and people working in government, people working in NGOs, ordinary people like us, and let's work together. I think working together, I think we can wake ourselves up, and we can wake others up as well. So thank you very much. I pass this on to Carmen.
Thank you, Vilma. Yeah, I think it's safe to say that we all share your wishes and your hopes for the tiger, and which is why we're doing this. So I want to thank every one of you. Thank Kae, Hazril, and Lara. Lara, I particularly love that line, to know is to love is to protect. I think that says it all. And of course, I want to thank you all for doing the work that you do. We appreciate all the hard work that you guys put into saving the Malayan tiger. And then I want to thank everyone who joined us as well. Sorry that we're running a bit late, but you've been a great audience, and I hope you have been inspired to take action for tigers. And if you remember, I said at the beginning that our goal, in addition to educate, is to raise funds for tigers. So while we decided early on that our lectures would be free for anyone to attend, we do welcome donations. So if you'd like to lend your support, please scan this QR code that is coming up on the screen. I think
it's up. It's up.
Yep, it's up. Okay. It will take you directly to the global giving page where you can make a donation that directly supports the work of Wildlife Society of Selangor. And of course, if you want to support Perhilitan, or you want to support Lara's organization, please do so. We don't, we want to save every tiger. And it's a bit disheartening to hear that after the survey that there are, Mr. Hazril said, fewer than 200, and Lara in the film said fewer than 150. And to think there were at most tonight 125, I saw 125 people attending this Zoom. And think about that. That's every single one of us as a tiger. That's how many tigers there are left in Malaysia. That, you know, puts things in perspective. So yeah, so thank you for joining us, and appreciate all the work that you guys are doing. And Vilma, I think you have something to
Yeah, I have 2 more slides, and we have a Wi-Fi, so please don't leave. We would love to have a Wi-Fi at the end. The next slide, please, Stephanie. Yeah, sorry, a note from your sponsors. We have some merchandise, and please go to our website, swagcat.org, our store, our swag store, to buy some swag if you wish. We have t-shirts for kids, we have kids books, and a leopard cat patch. So if you feel, you know, you want to support, please buy our merchandise. The money all goes to Wildlife Society of Selangor for the tiger. Next slide, please. And if you want more action, well, following up after Singapore Tiger Week, we are going to have a race against time. So time is running out, and we're gonna ask every one of you to join us on a personal challenge. And we'll tell you a little bit more about what this challenge would be. Last year, 30 of us ran or walked 100 kilometers. And we raised a total of nearly $12,000 US for the community ranger project that MYCAT supports. So we're going to do something like that again. Yeah, please do join us more as we go. So don't forget to come tomorrow at 3 o'clock, because we have some wonderful speakers. We have 4 young people from Malaysia who are doing their bit for wild tigers, and they're going to be talking about tigers, their organizations, and what they're doing for wild tigers in Malaysia. And that's at 3 o'clock Singapore time tomorrow. Thank you, everyone. And
thank you.
yeah, good night, everyone, and see you tomorrow.